Good afternoon. Welcome to Paraspar Talk, organized by the Office of Communication, Indian Institute of Science. Today we have our speaker, Sunil Koshy, who will be speaking on a journey from coding to composing. Before we begin, I would like to give a brief introduction of the speaker. Sunil Koshy is an award-winning singer, composer, vocal coach, TEDx speaker, and academician. He is the co-founder of From Mug to Mic, a platform for amateur singers, along with his wife Archana Helikeri. Sunil has collaborated with legends like Hariharan, K.S. Chitra, Kumar Shanu, sung and composed for films, jingles, and dance dramas. A case study from Mug to Mic has been published in Ivey Publishing and is available on Harvard. This case study has been taught and discussed in Melville University, Canada, MDI Gurgaon, and other colleges. An elective on music, communication, and management has been developed by Sunil and is offered in colleges like MS Ramaiah, Chanakya University, and others. Sunil has collaborated as a performer and a speaker with leading institutions and corporations like IIMA, IIMB, Chanakya, MS Ramaiah, Velikar Institute, Jain, Gibbs, NIMHANS, Google, Volvo, Myntra, Hitachi Energy, Infosys, BCIC, Lulu Mall, Gopalan Mall, among others. We are very happy to have you, Sunil, and we request you to give your talk.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. Well, so I have a very interesting association with IISc. I have not studied here, but I've always been amazed at the wonderful campus. And it's also connected with music, in fact, because I used to learn music from a guru close by with a friend who was a PhD student here. And then after the classes, we used to come here for breakfast. He used to bring me here for breakfast, in fact, and I've been amazed at, of course. So, and I jokingly say, I've been inside IISc. So I think it's kind of a full circle when I also shared this to that same friend that I've been given this honor of coming and speaking over here as part of the Office of Communication Paraspar talk series. I've been following the talk series, so it's really interesting and I'm really grateful to be here. So music right from childhood seemed to do something to me. Okay, so when my dad wanted to wake me up in the morning, he would actually play a song on the tape recorder. So what was interesting was that I couldn't sleep if a song was playing. So I think that was the earliest that probably I had realized that music had some connection. And I apparently went on stage and sang probably at the age of 2.5, is what my parents have said. So without any training, so singing was always there. I sang on stages in school and various public platforms, though I never got to learn music formally. In fact, there was one attempt in my school days that I tried to learn, and the teacher said that my voice is not good. So a good lesson that my father probably taught, or what he said was, stop learning from the teacher. And I think that's a big lesson I've always carried as a teacher, or when I've later tried to train people. I think you never discourage anybody. And many years later, when we started From Mug to Mic, the philosophy on which we started it was that everybody can sing. So why, From Mug to Mic, we called it a platform for bathroom singers or a platform for amateur singers. So normally you ask somebody, do you sing? So they say, no, I'm just a bathroom singer. Okay, and then we realized, of course, we have the majority there. The majority are bathroom singers, and I think there is nobody who hasn't sung in the bathroom. Okay. Now, how many of you sing or like to sing? As a bathroom singer, yes. So I have the keyword right over there. So how many of you sing well? You think you sing well? Great. So I think we have some good singers also here. Great. So I believe that everybody can sing. So I'll tell you why. Okay, because in fact, if you go back even to our kindergarten, we all did sing, right? We all sang Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, or nursery rhymes were taught in a tune. Why do you think rhymes were taught in a tune? And that time the teacher did not ask, can you sing? We all had to sing. There was nothing like, okay, he's a good singer or somebody is a bad singer. I think it was a very basic form of expression, or it was just there that we all had to sing. So at some point of time, we have all sung. I think even earlier, everybody just sang. We didn't really think if somebody is a good singer or a bad singer. In fact, through our lives, I think different ways we celebrate occasions in lives. So be it a party, there's no celebration without music, right? At birthday parties, we all sing happy birthday. Now what happens? You don't sing happy birthday, you don't get cake. No, we all sing happy birthday. Of course, there is a line in happy birthday when you go happy birthday. So there, of course, the non-singers may sing happy birthday. Yeah, you may not hit the exact note, but we all still try to sing. When we pray, yeah, I think every form of prayer is mostly singing. So you take it whether they are bhajans or even chanting. So chanting is a very preliminary form of singing. Maybe you use lesser notes or swaras when you chant, but there is tune and there is rhythm. So anything that is recited or pronounced in tune and certain rhythm does something to us. Okay, so that is the reason music is a part of our lives in so many ways. What is the first song that probably we have all heard as babies? The lullaby, right? So a mother, nevertheless, always sings to the baby. Mother doesn't say, I cannot sing or I don't have a good voice. So singing and music is kind of ingrained. Nowadays people use the word music therapy. I don't want to use the word therapy. I think it's a little heavy, because I think music as such is a part of our lives, and in so many ways, in so many moments in our life, probably so many times in a day we resort to music. I think when you're driving or when you sit to pray, you sit to meditate, any form of celebration. Even for selling we use music. Yeah, so we use jingles. You would have heard of washing powder Nirma, washing powder Nirma. So it is funny, yeah. Of course, a jingle is funny, but it is amusing and it catches your attention. That is the reason why they have. So they could have just told washing powder Nirma, washing powder Nirma, but that doesn't kind of stay in your memory. So these songs or jingles that are created to create a brand recall or to create attention for a certain product. So you must have heard, I'm sure you recall a lot of brand jingles. Yeah. So be it a radio station, be it a TV station, there is always a signature tune. Even when movies come out, what is the first promotion of a movie? It's of course, it's a trailer, a teaser, and then the song launch. Okay, so music kind of creates an identity to either the music, the theme music, or the songs in a movie are kind of the identity or are used as promotion, because that creates brand recall that holds your attention very quickly. Now, before we started from Mug to Mic, I worked, I did my computer engineering. So like the title says, coding to composing. I was an actual software engineer, computer programmer. I've coded, I've worked at companies like Intel. And then I've, deep inside, I was just telling madam over here, I think once you have, that bug inside you, not the software bug, but something to do creative, I think you cannot be bound by a 9 to 6 job where you're forced to sit in meetings. Of course, I loved what I did as a programmer, but there was always that deep inside desire or passion. Rather, I would like to call it madness, because if it's not madness, it will not drive you to do beyond that. So then I just decided I will say goodbye to my job then, and I went to a Gurukul in Chennai, where I didn't know what I would be doing beyond say 5 years or 10 years. But then I learnt music full time. I would wake up in the morning, do my Riyaz, and just learn. So it didn't seem like a very practical thing to do, because people around would ask, what are you doing? You had a very interesting job and which gives you a lot of money. And those days, Intel to be one of my first jobs was a big thing. Of course, I really enjoyed being there as well. But then to give up that kind of a comfort and pursue and learn music was something which didn't seem very practical. It seemed like a very foolish thing. But then I learnt music, because I hadn't learnt music earlier. I practiced for a while. I understood what it meant to practice for even a whole day. It's not easy to practice for a whole day, because you need that kind of a discipline to sit through the day and practice. How much can you practice? And then your mind wanders, because you're thinking, okay, I'm not earning anything now. And you see your friends are then getting promoted, they're going to the US, or so-called settling down in life. And then I decided to unsettle. But then I think during those days is when they say you get ideas when you sit just like that, or you not meditate. But I think when I just sang and sat through, I used to meet only musicians. I used to go to concerts. I used to read books on music. So it was doing only that with no other plan B. Okay. So like they say, there was no plan B. Okay. It was just that I had to learn music. I did that. And then what did I do next? So I came back to IT when I ran out of my money. So I had some savings, and then I came back to IT. But then this time I had kind of started learning music. So I think I had a better grip on music. And then I started thinking, now what else can I do? What can I start doing towards music as a profession? So music as a passion is good. When you sing in front of 10 friends, they say, wow, you're good. They clap, they say, you sound just like the most popular singer, and then that's great. You also feel good. But then the moment it has to become a profession, it's a very different game altogether, because then the competition is fierce. There are so many more talented people out there. And then that is when I started thinking, what can I do? I came up with an audio film that we conceptualized called Reboot. So I believe every piece of art or any music creation is a reflection of the artist. So I didn't want to just make songs for the sake of creating songs. And then I decided to make this audio film. Yeah, audio, but film. So there was no visual. It was only audio, 6 songs which told the life of an engineer, of a techie. So it was a story woven by short dialogues and narration, which we presented. And this had the first song saying, the last day of college, then a typical IT guy's journey. The IT guy goes to US. So every song reflected the emotion of the IT person's life, each phase. And then a love song. And then we created a song on workload, work pressure. So this was a creation that I did, and this happened to give me an award, which kind of marked one milestone. But then even at this, so what does an award do to you? Of course, it's just one thing in your profile, and probably it gives you some kind of attention or some kind of a recognition in the industry that, okay, you have done something. Now, then I realized that even selling what you have created is not very easy. Okay, so creating an album of that magnitude. I worked with musicians who play for A.R. Rahman, play for Ilayaraja, and great musicians. I recorded with some of the best studios, but then after that, when you have to bring out your product in the market and sell it, so I realized that it was very difficult even to sell a CD for about 100 rupees or 110 rupees. Art somehow seems to be wanted free everywhere. Yes, people say, oh, is it not free? So I remember even a very senior manager at where I worked said, this is free, right? Thank you. So I said, all right. But then you see that Even if it's given free, very rarely do people even listen to it and come back and say, hey, it was good. So I think that was a very early realization that even when you create something with a lot of effort, with a lot of money, it is not very easy to sell. So music, I think even if it's created by the biggest artists, I think people generally look at playing them or streaming them just like that. Even when we do shows, I've heard a lot of even people saying, can you give me free tickets? Yeah. So that was something that hit, and these are all learnings. And slowly this idea of creating from mug to mic came. After creating this album is when we started from mug to mic, and then this idea clicked because it was trying to create better singers out of common people. So somebody asked me, do you want to create more playback singers through from mug to mic? I said, no, that's not the idea. A playback singer may be good, may be bad. But the idea of singing for yourself, singing for the sheer joy of singing. So maybe you sing at home, you sing a bhajan, or you sing to a small gathering, you sing to your friends at a party or in an office. Yeah, so that gives you some kind of happiness that, hey, I can sing a little good. And that's how we created this format of from mug to mic workshops. So these were workshops that happened in professional recording studios. This was kind of a USP because nobody had brought a common man into a recording studio. So we said, you're a bathroom singer, you can come record in the studio. And then I would give them an overview of singing, and each participant also got to record in a studio. Okay. Now, why do I again believe that everybody can sing? Because I think singing is simply an extension of the way you speak. Okay. Have you realized that each one of you has a different pitch of speaking? Okay, somebody may say, hey, hello, how are you? Somebody may say, hello, hi, how are you? And depending on our moods, our pitch varies. The volume we speak at varies. The speed at which we speak varies. Like they say, more than what you are saying, it is the way you say. I'm sure you have all heard of that. Non-verbal communication. So sometimes I'm excited. Suppose I'm very happy to be here and I'm saying, I am so excited to be here. Yeah, it sounds funny. It doesn't sound excited. You say, hey guys, I'm so excited to be here. So what changed? The same words, but then when I've spoken it a little fast, or the pitch has changed. So that reflects kind of different emotions. Similarly in song as well. So I am singing, नीले नीले अंबर पर चांद जब आए प्यार बरसाए हमको तरसाए ऐसा कोई साथी हो. So that line is projected. If I sing ऐसा कोई साथी हो, so what did I sing differently? I sang it very soft, but that doesn't create that kind of an expression. So ऐसा कोई साथी हो, that's called voice dynamics. Only when I throw my voice or when I sing it really loud is when that line sounds appealing. It's the same case with even when we talk. So when maybe a husband and wife talk to each other and one person says, hey, you're angry, you're getting angry. So the other person says, no, I'm not getting angry. But then sometimes we speak, when you speak loud, it is angry, right? Yeah. And then you say, hey, I'm not angry. But then once you have spoken loud and it is offending, it is done. So I think so many times when we communicate, we shout, which is anger, right? So sometimes I think we are not aware of our pitch or the volume or the way we speak, which might offend others. So this is also something that I'm trying to bring in as an awareness through our courses that we've designed called Music, Communication and Management, where we bring in different facets of communication, also the speech, and by saying how we are not aware of the way we speak. In fact, there is research which says that the pitch of each person speaking tells a lot about the person. Okay, there has been research saying a CEO's pitch can tell how authoritative he sounds or how trustworthy he sounds. Okay, think of it. Now, the other aspect of music and the arts is that I believe music and arts has to become a hobby for everybody. Okay. How many of you know that Einstein was a good musician? Some of you know that Einstein was a good musician. So, I mean, generally when parents think, I mean, singing or music is, just for your time pass or it's not the serious stuff. But then apparently Einstein said he thought in terms of music. Now think of it. I'm not saying music or singing as a hobby. Now even beyond that. So apparently he said he thought in terms of the patterns of music. Okay, so when he was stuck in a problem, it seems he would either play the piano or play the violin. How many of you have learnt music or some? Yeah. In music, different patterns of music create melody. So when I say ga re ga sa re ga ni za re ga da ni za re ga sa pa sa ni da ba ma re za ga re za ma ga re ba ma ga da ba ma. So these different patterns you think can become music. It's all about patterns. In fact, in the Nobel Prize, on the Nobel Prize website, if you go, there is a tab which says Symphony of Music, Symphony of Science, which says that many Nobel Prize winners actually were musicians. Okay, apparently Heisenberg, Planck and Einstein also jammed together, apparently. So they were colleagues as scientists, but also they jammed. And there was another famous, I think Allison, a popular medicine laureate, who said a good lab is like a well-tuned band. Okay, so in a band, everybody has to be tuned. The guitarist, everybody has to be playing on a particular scale. There's a particular scale, pitch, and rhythm. Only when you're in tune does the music sound good. So similarly, when it's a team, I think any team has to be tuned well. The way you communicate, the way you work harmoniously together. Harmony is different sounds, different notes when played together that sound melodious or that sound good. Okay, so music or any form of art is something which does something to your brain. So remember when I said in the beginning, music did something to me. Of course, I did not know that I would take up music and make a career out of it, but I knew that music did something to my brain. And I also eventually realized that through music, of course, it is not that I just want to sing, but I realized that music is probably the most powerful form of communication. And then we also created songs which try to spread awareness. So we did a song in collaboration with NIMHANS for World Mental Health Day. So through the song, we try to create an awareness about various mental problems that people might have. And this was released during COVID, when of course a lot of us also were stuck either career-wise or studies, or stuck not being able to meet our closed ones and stuck in our homes. So through this song, we try to say, it was called Tumi Saath Rehna Mere. Similarly, through different songs, we try to create an awareness. We did a song for acid attack survivors. So we featured actual acid attack survivors, and people may ask, when you create a song, what difference does it really make? So my thought was that even if it makes one person think seriously, because I think more than just speaking, when you listen to a song, I think it makes people think at least, So we created a song for acid attack survivors, and then we were glad that through the song we were able to create some kind of traction. And in fact, there were people who also contributed for the cause of acid attack survivors through our song. We also did a song for World Disability Day, where through the song we wanted to say, what probably are, I mean, how many times do we at least think that there are different kinds of disability, or people with specially able people? So trying to create a social awareness through these songs. We did songs for Women's Day, we did songs for World Music Day, and this was another idea or initiative that we started by creating songs for various causes. Beyond this, we have also started taking music and singing to schools, colleges, and also corporate. Now, corporate talk about a lot of employee wellness, right? So, music to be used as a form of employee wellness is something relatively new. We have started doing that in companies like Myntra. We have worked with companies like Google, Volvo. So what do? Employees are kind of stressed out. We read a lot about employees getting stressed out and burnt. So creating spaces and time within a company where people can get together. Maybe people have always dreamt of singing, or maybe they want to dance, or they like to write, or they've always had some creative streak, but then it's always been like you study, you get a job, and then you are stuck. I mean, stuck in the sense you're then only focusing on your career, and then what next? It just keeps going on. So people generally never get an opportunity to explore their creativity. So these spaces or these opportunities within corporate spaces help them to come together. So people with, maybe they don't really sing or they're not trained, but they like to come and then learn a little bit of singing, and also they get to meet people from different teams. So in corporate, generally what happens is people work in silos. They all work in separate teams. They may just interact and fight within their team, but they don't even know people across teams. So through this, through these kind of initiatives, we try to bring people together where they can interact just for the creativity's sake. They get to sing, they get to jam. So nobody's also even judging them, am I a good singer or am I a bad singer? That is also a key idea of From Mug to Mic. When people come into our workshops, we say, you don't think you're a CEO or you're a head of a department, or you're a professor, or you're a homemaker. You're just there to sing. And singing becomes more a form of expression through these workshops. That became the strong philosophy of From Mug to Mic, and this is the idea that we are also trying to take towards bringing students closer, bringing corporate closer. Now, in companies, again, when we do these events now, corporate may have budget, may not have budgets, but then these, I'm glad that a lot of companies are now taking up this initiative and trying to give spaces for people to explore creatively. Okay, now how many of you listen to Carnatic or Hindustani film music? Okay. Do you believe that music has language? Okay. So I'll just hum something. La 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 la. I can hear somebody completing the tune. Yeah. So a tune, or de re na na na, de re na na. Sounds familiar? Yeah. So there is no lyric in it, right? But then how do we know what it is? So I think tunes alone create a kind of recall factor. Yeah, you're able to associate with just tunes. It is just that some of us think, I like only Kannada songs, or I like only Tamil songs, or Telugu songs, or Hindi songs. There is a study called ethnomusicology. Okay, so through our workshops, we also try to bring in an awareness of different kinds of music. So if you look at, say, Kerala or Karnataka, even within India, even within different states, or I think even different regions, have different forms of music, which tell you what, if you go deep and try to understand how say Carnatic music evolved, or a particular folk music, or certain folk instruments, you will see real unity in diversity, because you will see music was used as a celebration in all these different places. Let's talk only about India. So, be it childbirth, be it a wedding, any function or celebration that marks different events in our life, music has been used. But if you see the music, the folk music of these places, they are similar, but they are still different. So that is what actually means unity in diversity. So through our courses, we also try to bring in an appreciation. When people say, no, I don't listen to Tamil music. So I tell them, it is like saying, today I feel like eating aloo paratha. Maybe tomorrow I may like idli vada. So it is not that this is good or that is bad. So you don't say that a person from a particular state is good or bad. I think we see a lot of that these days on social media. There people are just blatantly going and telling something. I think art and music bring in a lot of tolerance, because we realize that everything is beautiful. Yeah. Is Veena better or sitar better? No. So I think to listen to music and to appreciate music, you don't need to be a musician. I tell people, just watch a concert. How do your learning happen? How does your learning happen? I think any learning or appreciation happens by just watching it first. Yeah. You don't like a Carnatic concert. Even I didn't know. I mean, I'm not from a actual music family, but I would just go to concert and sit. I would not understand anything in the beginning, but then I would see, okay, here there's a mridangam player, here there's a violinist, and they're singing, and then the musician tells something, this is this rag, and then I would go maybe buy a book or try to search and find out what is the instrument. Similarly, when I grew up, because I was from South, I was kind of had an affinity for Carnatic, but then I realized it's not just your region. Then I started exploring Hindustani music. And like I said, each region, each state has such rich culture. Talk about different instruments from different regions. Talk about so many different artists or different forms of song in different region. Now, once you have got a fair understanding of the Indian music, you can even explore music from different parts of the world. So I don't know if you know about jazz, blues. So if you see or reggae, in fact, a lot of these forms of music have come into existence because people wanted to say something. Maybe people were oppressed, or people fought for freedom. They wanted to create a revolution, and instead of talking, I think they used music as their tool. So I believe bringing in music and trying to understand music itself makes us more tolerant and makes us better people. Now, talking of switching from an IT career to a music career, a lot of people ask me, how could you do it? Okay, so a lot of media ask me questions like, what is your return on investment, or what is your business model? And both me and my wife were IT guys. We were colleagues in a company, and then we just started because I thought there was a potential for this, and we did not know anything. Okay, so we didn't understand business. We just started, and we didn't even call it business because it was just passion. And I was introduced, there was a case study which got published at Ivey University, and also it's available at Harvard. And this case study is being taught. So these days we are also being invited to MDI Gurgaon and various universities where as a passionpreneur, our journey is being discussed. So somebody recently asked me, some students, so is it good to do an MBA? Do you think you should have done an MBA? I said, I dreamt of doing an MBA, but then I think once you start, you learn things on your own, things like pricing, or what is your target audience, and things like that. So eventually by doing all these things, we learned. I mean, and I think as an entrepreneur, you don't really think, okay, is this idea working? And maybe you give it up after some time. Okay, because if you really want to do it, and if you're clear, like I said, it's not just passion, it is a certain kind of madness. that you are very clear that you want to do something, and it is not for your selfish purpose. Because when I realized that music is more a powerful tool, is when it drives you. And then when you see the kind of happiness that people get out of what you're giving, is when that something drives you. Okay, so how could I make a decision from, moving from a regular stable job or a end of the month pay package thing? So I tell people, maybe I was not intelligent enough to think that, what next? There are books which say the 10 things to do before you quit your job. So I didn't read all those books. I just knew that I had to do it, and I think you will find a way through. I mean, because the moment you start thinking that, okay, this didn't work and this was a failure, I think is when you may regret and think, hey, I'll go back to my job. But then when you look at it as a kind of learning, is when you will want to go ahead and try out new things. And what we have enjoyed as creators is that there is a certain kind of freedom when you do something that is yours. And then when it is something as creative as music, it's beautiful, because when you're creating music, even if it puts a smile on one person's face, or you've created a devotional song, it's being used by somebody as a prayer, I think that creates all the difference and all the magic. So this is in short a journey of going from coding to composing. Thank you. We can take up questions or anything in particular.
Just a simple quick question. At what age did you leave your job?
Age is important, no? So I think I worked for about 3 years after my engineering. So maybe 24, 25.
So was it a very difficult one? How did you fought your self-doubt back
Yeah.
as well?
So I've not been a very good sibling or child. So I've been that rebellious. Okay. In fact, I'm telling it on camera now. My eldest brother did not know that I quit my job. Okay. So because he's a doctor. Both my elder brothers are doctors, and those days it's either doctor or engineer. I ended up becoming an engineer. Wanted to become a doctor, but always wanted to sing. Okay. So I think deep inside we all have something else that we wanted to do. Yeah, but we are stuck maybe. My only thought was, after 10 years, I shouldn't regret that. Wish I had tried and I would have become something else. I think we can all say that. So I said, let me try that something, whatever it is. Okay, even however good or bad, whatever happens, I thought, I think it's my life and I should take that kind of a risk. So I did not tell my eldest brother. And then I was in Chennai. Those days there were no mobile phones. So I would call from a phone booth and I would say, I'm in the company, so I'm working. So, but then later I released an album, and which got featured in Times of India, which said, so then the story looks very appealing. No, you've left your IT job and you've gone to Gurukul. These are stories we read. Like I had read about big musicians saying, I left in search of a guru. And those are very interesting stories. But, if you have an EMI or if you have loans and all, I mean, that's not very, very interesting. So practical side is, of course, it's a nightmare. But then I think, like, that's why I said it has to be madness. It cannot be something that you think that, it is good to do. It's like a good to have thing, but I think you should just be wanting to do it, and then you will figure out. So it was not difficult for me.
So you went to Gurukul and then you came back to IIMB.
I went to Gurukul. I learned music for a few years and then ran out of my savings. I said, chalo, let me try. So very unplanned. My career had that break. My resume said so many years in a Gurukul. But fortunately, I was in a niche kind of working space where there was demand. I got back. I worked at HP company, and then I then kept learning music parallelly. I also started assisting music directors. I started a little bit of composing. Started exploring the industry more as a profession then.
How long do you think did it take you to figure out that this is my way and finally music is my thing and I should leave IT completely?
So
when was the first time you tasted success with respect to music? Is what
So success, okay. Very, very interesting thing. These days I tell people, your idea of success, I think, should be personal. So maybe to somebody else, I'm not a success. But I think the earlier you define what success means to you, but still a good question. So when I did that album, for on which I worked 2-3 years, I wrote down. I kind of like to write. I said, okay, to me, success of this album means maybe so many thousand copies sold, or that I get 50, 100 concerts, or I win some award, or I get published on like Times of India or Hindu or things like that. So interestingly, a lot of things that I wrote down came true. So I think they say, no, you write down or manifest. I mean, I didn't know all those things. But I think when you write something, you will somehow, your mind, tomorrow you meet somebody, I think you will try to follow that path. Otherwise, it becomes very scattered. So when I wrote down, I should get featured on Times of India, I just laughed inside. Because who will write about me? And you'll not believe, I have stood in front of media offices to give my free CD. And even the security would shoo me away. And then I would call the editor and say, ma'am, I wanted to give a free CD. They said, no, it's okay, that doesn't matter. Or somebody would say, oh, this is a Kannada CD. Oh, this is... So that's why I spoke about, music being beyond languages. So getting that kind of a recognition, and then later on I got featured on all of those. So that meant success to me. I got featured on third page of Times of India on a Sunday, and then front page of Hindu Metropolis many times. Radio CNN IBN featured us. When I was about to start from Muck to Mic, I spoke to my IIM friends and I asked them, do you think it's a good idea? So again, what an idea, I mean, is an idea good or bad? I think it is mostly your conviction and how much you believe in it. Of course, anything cannot be an idea. For that, you should have studied what is there in the market already. You should know, you should have good understanding of what you can offer. I saw that there was no platform for bathroom singers. There were platforms for professional Carnatic, Hindustani singing, and most people didn't do that because they thought I'm either too old or it's like, 10 years and all, how will I learn and become a singer? That seems a little difficult. So we said, it's not to become a professional singer, but you become a little better singer.
So you believe that we should always keep our madness up, but we should take calculated risks.
So I think those two don't go hand in hand, no?
But that is the gist of the advices that I can use about you now.
I think at every stage, see, even calculated risk comes with experience. So when I first just left my job, there was no calculated risk. It was only risk. And then I think with each step, like they say, your decision-making power also gets stronger. And sometimes a lot of people only think and think. And then we don't do anything. And then it's like time just flies by. So I think initially you just take risk. And then you quickly learn from it. I think that is what I always did. I think when what seems like failure, you should be able to look at the eyes of what went wrong and say, what went wrong. So I'm somebody who would always blame myself for something that didn't go well. So I think taking that accountability is not easy. It's easy to blame somebody else saying, oh, my parents didn't encourage me, so I didn't do it. So if an event went well, or if I did a workshop and I lost money, so I would try to think what went wrong. Was the idea not good? Was the promotion not good enough? Or I think calculation also comes from a lot of just doing it first.
Thank you.
I hope it made some sense. Yeah, thank you.
Your background in IT,
Yes, sir. BE Computer Science.
it would give an upper hand in composed music.
So like I said, everything is about patterns. So in music, you see patterns, you can hear your patterns. So for a musician, they say you see notes and then you can hear the music. So if I see Garisa, it's like Garisa.
No, this is true for anybody even without an IT background.
Of course.
No, I'm just asking whether the background did it really help you?
So bringing music, so now I go back to IT companies where I try to bring in music as a tool for engagement. Then it helps me because I can kind of empathize with what I felt as a coder. I'm not even just coder, any corporate. So it helps me to connect that way.
Computer generated music.
So of course, I've heard people now saying, I compose, but I don't know music. So I was amazed first. So they said, I just use some tool, but I don't know. I think,
You are not right.
no, I still believe in trying to understand music. And of course, I think it can be used to aid something. But I think, like I first said, it should be a reflection of what the artist is. It should reflect the soul of what I am. And that is why I think each composer, you take Salil Chaudhary or R.D. Burman or S.D. Burman, Ilayaraja, A.R. Rahman, talking of only composers. So I think that's true with any creation. There should be a soul. It is not just some random pattern.
One more question.
Yes,
What
sir.
do you think of a I'll give you the mic. So it's okay. Not many people. What do you think of the copyright, composers and copyright? Ilayaraja had a problem with Balasubramanian.
I think it's highly debated. Yeah. So, in a way, I think musicians, composers feel they need the royalty so that they keep getting returns on what they have composed. And that is where I think a lot of artists disagreed. So, I think it is still highly debated. It is good that artists' rights are protected in some way, but I think not beyond a certain extreme. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, no offense mind, but if computer engineering makes a musician, then we'll have one in every lane and every neighborhood. So there are so many computer engineers. That's all we have anyway. I believe that gone are the days of Van Halen and R.D. Burman, let alone S.D. Burman, and the last good band I heard was Dave Matthews Band. And I don't think there's anything worth calling music that has been composed in the last 25 years. Where it's very synthetic. There are a lot of synthetic element that has come. I don't see much of an instrumental virtuosity at play. That's my opinion. But with AI coming in, both the things as he asked, one is copyright, and the second is, the originality, the feeling in music. Where do you see it going? Because it's going to take over. I mean, I'll try to compose a song tonight. I don't know anything about music. I just asked GPT to chat GPT. So where do you see it going?
So I think that is true even in case of IT. I think these days even parents are really thinking if they should put their kids into computer science or something like that. But I don't know. I think there is always that soul that reflects in what you create, which I think we all need. And talking of synthetic music and not using live instruments, I have always believed in using live instruments. Again, the challenge for composers to use live instruments. For example, I'll tell you, I've worked for a few movies. But the first movie I worked with, the reference they gave me was some Hollywood movie. And the budget was the other extreme. So he said the music should sound like a 100-piece orchestra, but the money he gave was, hardly to pay the studio bill. So when you're your first timer, you cannot talk, you cannot ask such things. It's your first job, you want to take it. So then I just took it up. I also spent money from my pocket because I realized when the music comes out, so it was my debut movie, nobody will ask how much budget you had. They will only say good or bad. Okay, so I have used live instruments, and when you have worked as an artist, you know that you cannot bargain or compromise with a studio because there are studio engineers who are running studios. That's their whole livelihood. We have musicians, and when COVID hit, we saw a lot of musicians actually struggle. There were no shows. Yeah, so we don't bargain or we don't try to compromise with costs that we pay musicians. So I have always tried to use live flute, live guitar, though you can make sound like guitar sound, but the way a guitarist plays or moves his fingers, that has come with a lot of riyaz or with a lot of practice. The soul comes into play when a tabla player plays or a flute player actually plays the instrument that you cannot get when somebody is programming. That programming guy can only bring the sound but not the soul of a sitarist or a tabla player. That is so many years of Riyaz or, that goes in. So I've never tried to compromise in terms of using live instruments. Whenever I've been asked to do that, I don't do that. So I've always made sure that I've used a lot of live.
So, I think what I'm trying to say is there is still room and that will continue. It just cannot be replaced.
Of course.
And what's your favorite band or music, if I may ask? Like you have to pick one.
Very difficult to pick one.
I said you have to pick one.
Like I said, someday I want idli sambar, someday I want paratha. I think, as a musician, everything, apple is different from orange. I think every artist, when somebody says Kishore Kumar is better, or Rafi Saab is better, or Sonu Nigam, I think everybody has something to give you, which is very different.
You're dodging the question.
I'm absolutely, maybe earlier as a kid, I would have had a favorite because I've grown up listening to, say, Yeshudas as an artist. But then the more you embrace different forms, so I thought, okay, I'll give you another example. So, an outsider, maybe a foreigner, may listen to Carnatic music or Indian music and say it sounds like crying. Whereas somebody not aware of Western music may say it sounds like shouting. Both are not true, right? So it is only how much you have understood. So when we have made music videos or when we have created songs, we realize how difficult it is to even shoot a music video, that any movie, any music video, any song we hear, we appreciate because we understand probably there is a lot of effort that has gone in. It is very easy to watch and say, this is just something, because some kind of effort has gone in. So I think it is all about appreciating and trying to understand what kind of effort has gone into making that.
Maybe I'd like to take the question that you were trying to dodge. Like how you said, probably in the last 25 years, I might take it as an offense if somebody says that there was no good music or the last good band was XYZ, because music is so vast that anything that is created definitely needs some kind of an appreciation. So you can't blatantly say that there was no good music in the last 25 years, because you just killed a hopeful singer like me probably. Because I feel everybody has a particular way, tonality for which they are known for, maybe subject to region that they belong to. For example, if you take the recent success of Sayyara, probably many people trash that, it's not great movie, not great music, but for me, it's pleasant because I've never really heard that kind of texture in a person's voice who sang that song. It could have easily been done by Arijit Singh or anybody else, but the fact that somebody else came and sang it gave a total new definition to the song. So I feel even if I had sung it, probably instead of the original singer, maybe I could have become a sensation too. So to subject it to say this is good, this is bad, I think it doesn't really have boundaries. I recently even heard a song in Kannada movie, Kachalige, which is by the tribal people in North Karnataka, that was brought into mainstream cinema and made into a popular commercial song. So I quite liked it, but I also liked the progression that, somewhere something was heard only in the villages or in the tribes, came to the forefront or maybe to commercial cinema. A lot more new people got to know about it. So I feel that was also very good songs. Maybe people spoiled it after they brought it to mainstream. I could also say that. So yeah, that's my take on it. But yeah, if I start singing today, somebody didn't appreciate, because traditionally I'm not a singer, but my efforts to sing initially might be jarring, but someday I would probably progress with that. So someday it could become a hit. 20 years ago, what a song we thought was probably not so great in those times is now regarded as timeless classic. So you never really know. What we sing today might not be appreciated today. Maybe 25 years later, somebody will pick it up and say, wow, beautiful movie, beautiful music. I think that's what recently happened with one of the movies, I think, that re-released and now making more money. And I think since Sunil, you've been training people who are not professionally singers. So people like us who are not trained with music can hope to be a singer and maybe heard sometime later on stage. Because that's your promise. Mug to mic.
Thank you, Raj.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thank you for
Good evening.
having us here.
Thank you.
My question is, how one can handle both the things equally? Like if I am a designer right now, and
Sorry, you're
I'm a product designer.
Product designer.
I am into music as well.
Oh, great.
I love music, but I have to handle both the things simultaneously. So how one can maintain it for a very nice, and both things can be misrepresented.
So again, it's very relative. So like I said, I know of people who balance both, but then I think you have to be very clear as to what you mean by balancing well. So it's important to probably have some milestones defined. So do you produce, do you create, you compose, or you sing?
I produce and compose.
Okay. So what do you look at, say, maybe 5-10 years down the line, to be able to say that, okay, you were successful in music? Forget the...
In creating music or something else?
No, in terms of music. So like I said, being successful is very relative. So for you, what would you look at is success? Probably say 5 or 10 years down the line. See, you could still be doing a good job. You're pursuing your design and you're composing, you're practicing music. That is good enough. But then how ambitious are you? So ambitious is a very different thing.
Yeah, my music remains alive every day. Like if someone heard this after 20 years also, it should remain like, wow, man, this is something I want to do.
So again, so it's very relative. And do you want your music to reach out? Is again a different thing. Maybe I've created a song, but it's not reached out. So that time, how do you take your music ahead? You may have to perform.
It should be 50-50, like, or it should be 100-100, or like when playing game.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
So for somebody like me, I decided that I want to do it full time, because then, I'm not thinking of anything else.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we have to focus in one direction only. But if someone has two directions focusing.
So even I was somebody like that. So like I said, I wanted a top IT job, and I also wanted to do something in music. But at some point I realized, okay, I have this top job, but then I was going to a guru and I didn't have time to practice. So I would go to the guru in the morning at 7 in Malleshwaram, and then straight away go to company, and then by the time I come back it's 9. I'm so exhausted. So unless I really practice my art, so if I don't spend maybe a couple of hours practicing or doing my Riyaz or trying to create, then I just go to the teacher again. I felt it's a waste of time. I'm not working on my art.
So by doing, you just find the way. What is really made for you?
Yeah, I think it's more about being clear as to what success in music means to you. So just saying that after 20 years or so many years people should hear, I think is very vague. Sorry. It may still be good to somebody, but how do you want to define that more clearly, I think is important. Would you want to do shows, or you just want to compose?
Right now, like, who doesn't want to do shows?
Yes. So then to do shows, there are a lot of other things involved. You don't just get a show. So like I said, when I was working, I would sing and people say, wow, you sound just like this singer. But then, the commercial element comes in only when you have really marketed yourself, you push yourself. So as an artist, we generally tend to be very humble and, because we say, music is divine and you're still learning. But then if you have to promote yourself, then you have to be confident. You have to say, I'm the best. So these are two very different things. So if you need shows, if you need commercial success, you will have to brag about yourself. You will have to promote yourself. You'll have to showcase, like these days they say, your show reel is more important than what you are actually. So these are very contrasting. There are some people I know who are good musicians, but they don't want to sell their music. They don't want to do commercial shows. They're happy. I know of people who are renowned, in their own fields of work, maybe doctor, engineer, but then they are equally good in music, but they're happy. They don't want to be commercially a popular band or a popular artist. They are happy with, maybe they don't have their CDs or music selling.
Creating, they are happy right now.
Sorry?
Just creating music, they are happy. They just want to create and create.
Yes, so they are happy with that. I think.
That is much important.
Yeah. So if that is important, then I think you have defined. But I think the clarity of what you want becomes very important. Because I know a lot of people who say, I just want to become playback singer. So what is playback singer? If you sing for one movie also, you have become a playback singer. Now there are thousands of good and bad playback singers. I have people coming to me saying, how many months can I become a playback singer? So I tell them, you can become even without doing a course. Because somebody just gives you a chance, you are a playback singer. But then, have you survived, like you said, test of time? Maybe after 20 years, somebody still feels like listening to you. So that is something that, comes only when you have pursued your art that way. So that time you cannot think of fame. My guru said, focus on your siddhi, prasiddhi will come. but as a commercial artist, you're always, I believe you should learn, practice and showcase. So if I'm full-time into arts or music, I think all these things keep happening. Some people only focus on showcasing. They only want to put out their reels, however good or bad they are, they just want to do that. But I think you have to learn and then you have to practice. Practice is that space where you are mastering your art. For example, 5 years back what I sang, or say 20 years back, what I sang I thought was the best. And after 10 years I've realized how bad it was. So it took me 10 years of learning and practicing to realize that what I did was so bad. Okay, so I think that is something which keeps evolving. Even I think the greatest artists, I've heard Lata ji would sing a song and come out and feel that she could have done much better. Imagine somebody like Lata ji, but probably only she realized that. Okay, so this is also something, okay, I'll just maybe talk about working with some great artists. I've seen how prepared and how I recorded Hariharan ji 2 months back for a composition of mine, which was like a very big dream. So the kind of preparation he came with for he came with the lyrics printed and he was so prepared. He gave me ideas about the composition. He said, this could be changed. And normally an amateur who is not prepared will just, come on the phone and just sing and go. Sometimes even I've felt guilty, I just record so carelessly. So I think the kind of preparation, I've worked with great singers who practice a lot. They practice their own songs before a concert for 5 times, 10 times, where an amateur may just go and, saying, I'm good. So even that idea of what is good evolves with a lot of learning. So what I think is good today, tomorrow is not good. And I think that is what keeps an artist going.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any last question? I think you have a clipping.
Yes, I have a short clip which might be interesting.
You say something.
Sure, maybe after this I'll.
तेरे हर एक हमको ही लटों की छाँव में खिला खिला ये रूप है हमारो बदलोनी കളിക്കുന്ന നാട്ടിലേക്ക് എത്തുവാനോ നാട്ടുമാവൂരത്തെ കൂട്ടരോട് നിന്നും കുശലം പറഞ്ഞിടാം है प्यार का कैसा असर हम आपके हैं कौन मेरे पोले पाटियल्ल நாடகம் மானகம் விலகி செல்ல
Hindi, most of you? So I'll just sing a few lines of. अभी न जाओ छोड़ कर कि दिल अभी भरा नहीं, अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर कि दिल अभी भरा नहीं, अभी अभी तो आई हो, अभी अभी तो, अभी अभी तो आई हो, बहार बन के छाई हो, हवा जरा महक तो ले, नजर जरा बहक तो ले, ये शाम ढल तो ले जरा, ये शाम ढल तो ले जरा, ये दिल संभल तो ले जरा, मैं थोड़ी देर जी तो लूं, नशे के गूंठ पी तो लूं, नशे के गूंठ पी तो लूं, अभी तो कुछ कहा नहीं, अभी तो कुछ सुना नहीं, अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर के दिल अभी भरा नहीं. Thank you so much.
With this, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Sunil, for accepting our invitation.
Oh, my pleasure.
And this
It's an honor.
Amazing interaction with the, our audience.
Thank you.
I'm sure many have been inspired to keep their passion alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Can I invite Sandeep Menon from the Office of Communication? We have a small token of appreciation.
Oh, sure, please.